What happens when a beloved daytime host meets an entitled royal guest who thinks the rules don't apply to him? It only took 31 seconds for Prince Harry to cross a line so shocking that Kelly Clarkson did something no one saw coming. She kicked him off her show, live on television, in front of millions of viewers. This is the story of the most explosive talk show moment that left audiences stunned and showed the world that some people's true colors shine brightest when they think nobody's watching. The Kelly Clarkson Show had always been a safe space. Kelly's warm smile and genuine laugh made even the most nervous celebrities feel at home. Her couch had hosted everyone from Hollywood, A-listers to everyday heroes, and every single guest left feeling better than when they arrived. That's just who Kelly was. Real, honest, and impossibly kind. But on this particular Tuesday morning, something felt different in Studio 6B. The crew noticed it first. Kelly seemed more focused than usual during makeup, going over her notes twice instead of chatting with her glam team. Her producer, Sarah, had briefed her about their guest's specific requests. No questions about his family drama. No mention of his recent controversies. Keep it light and promotional. Prince Harry walked onto the set like he owned it. His posture screamed importance. Chest puffed out, chin slightly raised. He didn't acknowledge the crew members who had worked tirelessly to prepare for his arrival. No thank yous to the makeup artist who had rushed to accommodate his last-minute touch-ups. He simply expected everything to revolve around him. Kelly stood up from her host chair as he approached, extending her hand with that signature Clarkson warmth. "Your Royal Highness, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here today." Harry shook her hand briefly, his grip weak and dismissive. "Right. Well, let's get this over with, shall we?" The audience didn't catch that comment, but Kelly's smile faltered for just a split second. She was a pro, though. 20 years in the business had taught her how to recover from anything. "Please, have a seat," she gestured to the guest chair. "I have to say, your book has been making quite the impact. Our viewers are dying to know more about your journey." Harry settled into his chair like he was doing everyone a favor. "Yes, well, that's why I'm here, isn't it? Though I do hope we can keep this appropriate. I assume you've been briefed on what topics are off limits." Kelly's eyebrows raised slightly. In all her years of hosting, no guest had ever opened an interview by essentially threatening her. "Of course, we want you to feel comfortable, but I think our audience would love to hear about the real you, the person behind all the headlines." "The real me?" Harry let out a short, bitter laugh. "I don't think your American audience would understand the real me. They're rather simple, aren't they?" The studio fell silent. Camera operators looked at each other with wide eyes. The audience members in the front row shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Kelly's producer Sarah felt her stomach drop from the control room. But Kelly Clarkson had built her career on authenticity. She wasn't about to let anyone, royal or not, insult the people who had supported her for decades. "I'm sorry, what did you just say?" Kelly's voice remained calm, but there was steel underneath the sweetness. Harry waved his hand dismissively. "Oh, come now, don't pretend to be offended. We both know American audiences prefer their entertainment dumbed down. That's why your show works so well, isn't it? Simple questions, simple answers. Everyone goes home happy." The audience gasped audibly this time. Kelly's band members, who had worked with her since day one, stared in disbelief. This wasn't happening. No one spoke to Kelly like this. Kelly leaned forward slightly, her media training kicking in. "Actually, our audience is incredibly intelligent and engaged. They're teachers, doctors, parents, students, people who work hard every day to make their communities better, and they deserve respect." "Deserve respect?" Harry scoffed. "From me? Do you know who you're talking to?" The question hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Kelly felt something shift inside her chest. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was about every single person who had ever tuned into her show, looking for a moment of joy in their day. "I'm talking to a guest on my show," Kelly said, her voice steady but firm. "And right now, that guest is being incredibly rude to people who have done nothing but welcome him with open arms." Harry's face darkened. "Rude? I'll tell you what's rude. Being forced to sit here and pretend I care about your little morning show when I have actual important things to do. Do you have any idea what my time is worth?" The crew members behind the cameras couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Kelly Clarkson, the woman who had cried tears of joy when she met her heroes, who had given away cars to single mothers, who had used her platform to lift up everyone around her, was being attacked by someone who was supposed to be her guest. "Your time?" Kelly's voice rose slightly, though she kept it professional. "What about my time? What about my crew's time? What about the time of everyone in this audience who took a day off work to be here?" Harry rolled his eyes. "Oh, please, spare me the working-class hero routine. You're worth millions. Don't pretend you're one of them. That was it. That was the moment Kelly Clarkson had enough. She stood up from her chair slowly, deliberately. The studio lights caught the determination in her eyes. 20 years of being underestimated, 20 years of proving herself, 20 years of building something beautiful and positive in a world full of negativity, and this man thought he could waltz in and tear it all down. "You know what?" Kelly said, her voice carrying across the silent studio. "I think we're done here." Harry blinked, clearly not expecting pushback. "Excuse me?" Kelly's voice remained steady, but every word carried weight. "I said we're done. This interview is over. You can't be serious." Harry let out a nervous laugh, looking around the studio as if expecting someone to tell him this was all a joke. "Do you know what kind of ratings this appearance will bring you? The publicity? You need me more than I need you." Kelly shook her head slowly. "No, actually, I don't. What I need is to maintain the respect and dignity that this show has always represented. And right now, you're making that impossible." The audience sat in stunned silence. Some held their phones, recording what they knew would become legendary television history. Others simply stared, mouths agape, watching their beloved host stand up to someone who clearly thought he was untouchable. Harry's demeanor shifted. The casual arrogance melted away, replaced by something uglier. "You have no idea who you're dealing with. I could destroy your little show with one phone call, one tweet. Do you understand the influence I have?" Kelly's producer, Sarah, watched from the control room, her finger hovering over the emergency brake button, but Kelly caught her eye through the glass and gave an almost imperceptible shake of her head. She was handling this. Influence? Kelly stepped closer to Harry's chair, her presence commanding despite her petite frame. "Let me tell you about influence. Real influence isn't about threats or titles or who your family island. Real influence is about lifting people up, not tearing them down." Harry stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "Don't lecture me about influence. I've dedicated my life to charitable causes while you sing songs and play games on television." The audience murmured angrily. These were Kelly's people. They had watched her support countless charities, visit children's hospitals, use her platform to highlight important causes. They knew who she really was. Kelly's eyes flashed. "Charitable causes? Is that what you call insulting an entire country of people who have shown you nothing but kindness? Is that what you call disrespecting hardworking Americans who are just trying to make their lives a little better?" "Americans," Harry spat the word like it tasted bitter. "You all think you're so important, so special, but you have no history, no culture, no understanding of what real royalty means." The studio erupted. Audience members started booing. Camera operators shook their heads in disgust. Even Kelly's security team, stationed at the edges of the stage, tensed up. But Kelly raised her hand. And somehow, miraculously, the crowd quieted. That was her power, not inherited, not given to her by accident of birth, but earned through years of genuine connection with people. "You want to talk about real royalty?" Kelly's voice was calm again, but it carried the force of absolute conviction. "Real royalty treats people with kindness. Real royalty lifts others up instead of putting them down. Real royalty doesn't need to remind people who they are because their actions speak louder than their titles." Harry's face flushed red. "How dare you? Do you know what I've been through? What I've sacrificed? The pressures I've faced?" "Everyone has pressures," Kelly shot back. "Everyone has struggles. But that doesn't give you the right to take it out on innocent people who have done nothing to you except try to make you feel welcome." The prince began pacing back and forth in front of his chair like a caged animal. "You don't understand. None of you understand. I didn't choose this life. I was born into it. The expectations, the scrutiny, the constant judgment." Kelly's voice softened slightly, showing the empathy that had made her America's sweetheart. "You're right. I don't understand what that's like. But I do understand what it's like to be judged. I understand what it's like to have people doubt you, to have to prove yourself every single day. The difference is, I chose to use those experiences to connect with people, not to push them away." Harry stopped pacing and turned to face her directly. "Connect with people? You mean exploit them for entertainment value while you count your money?" That accusation hit Kelly like a physical blow. Her entire career had been built on genuine relationships with her audience. She had shared her struggles with Wade, her divorce, her journey as a single mother. She had been vulnerable and real when she could have hidden behind celebrity walls. Exploit them? Kelly's voice cracked slightly, showing the first sign of how deeply Harry's words had cut her. "These people aren't my audience. They're my friends. They're my community. They've supported me through every high and low of my career, and I would never, ever betray that trust by exploiting them. Harry sensed weakness and pressed harder. Oh, please, save the tears for your next sob story segment. We both know this is all an act. The relatable celebrity, the girl next door routine, it's all carefully crafted marketing. The audience was getting restless again. Angry murmurs rippled through the seats. Kelly's bandleader, Jason, had his hands clenched into fists. The crew members looked like they wanted to physically remove Harry from the building, but Kelly took a deep breath and found her center again. You know what's sad? You're so trapped in your own bitterness that you can't recognize genuine connection when you see it. You think everyone must be as calculating and manipulative as the world that raised you. Don't psychoanalyze me, Harry snapped. You're not qualified. Kelly smiled sadly. You're right, I'm not. But I am qualified to recognize when someone is hurting the people I care about. And that's exactly what you're doing right now. Harry threw his hands up in exasperation. Hurting people? By telling the truth? By refusing to pretend that this shallow American celebrity culture matters? The words hung in the air like poison. Kelly looked out at her audience, saw the hurt and anger in their faces, and felt something crystallize inside her chest. This wasn't just about defending herself anymore. This was about defending everyone who had ever been made to feel small by someone who thought their privilege made them superior. Get out, Kelly said quietly. Harry frowned. What? I said get out. Kelly's voice was stronger now, carrying across the studio with unmistakable authority. You're done here. Harry's mouth fell open in genuine shock. You cannot be serious. You're actually kicking me off your show? Kelly nodded slowly, her resolve strengthening with each passing second. That's exactly what I'm doing. Security, please escort our guest to the exit. No, no, no. Harry held up his hands as two security guards started moving toward the stage. You don't get to do this to me. Do you have any idea what this will look like? The headlines this will generate? Kelly crossed her arms. I'm sure there'll be very interesting headlines, and every single one will show exactly who you really are. The audience began to applaud, slowly at first, then building into thunderous approval. They were witnessing their beloved host stand up to a bully, and they were here for every second of it. Harry looked around desperately, as if searching for someone who would take his side. This is insane. You're making a huge mistake. I came here as a favor to you, to give your little show some credibility. And this is how you repay me? A favor? Kelly laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think coming on my show and insulting my audience, my crew, my country, and me personally was doing me a favor? I was being honest, Harry protested as the security guards flanked him. Someone needed to tell you the truth about what you really are. Kelly stepped closer, her voice dropping to a level that somehow carried more power than shouting ever could. What I really am is someone who respects people. What I really am is someone who believes that everyone deserves to be treated with dignity. What you really are is someone who thinks your title gives you permission to be cruel to people who can't fight back. Harry's face twisted with frustration. They can't fight back? You're literally kicking me off your show. You're embarrassing me in front of millions of people. No, Kelly said firmly. You embarrassed yourself. I'm just refusing to let you continue doing it on my stage. The security guards moved closer, but Harry wasn't finished. You think this makes you look strong? You think this makes you some kind of hero? You're nothing but a small-town girl who got lucky with a singing contest. Without that luck, you'd still be waiting tables somewhere, dreaming of something better. The studio gasped. Even the camera operators winced. Everyone knew Kelly's story, how she had struggled before American Idol, how hard she had worked to build her career. This was a deeply personal attack. But instead of breaking down, Kelly stood taller. You're absolutely right about one thing. I am a small-town girl, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of where I come from, I'm proud of the values I was raised with, and I'm proud of the fact that success hasn't changed who I am at my core. Harry scoffed. Values? What values? The value of humiliating a guest on your show? Kelly shook her head. The values that taught me to treat people with respect, regardless of their background. The values that taught me that kindness matters more than status. The values that taught me to stand up to bullies, even when those bullies think they're untouchable. I am not a bully, Harry said through gritted teeth. Then what would you call someone who walks into a room and immediately starts insulting everyone in it? Kelly asked. What would you call someone who thinks their pain gives them permission to hurt innocent people? Harry looked around the studio one more time, seeing nothing but disapproving faces staring back at him. This is unbelievable. Wait until the press hears about this. Wait until my team releases our version of events. Kelly smiled, and for the first time since this nightmare began, it was genuine. Please do. I hope they get every word of this conversation exactly right. I hope everyone sees exactly what happened here today." The security guard stepped forward. "Sir, we need you to come with us now." Harry jerked away from them. "Don't touch me. I'll walk myself out." He turned back to Kelly one final time. "You have no idea what you've just done. The royal family has a long memory." Kelly's expression didn't change. "Good. I hope they remember this conversation the next time they think about how they treat people who are just trying to do their jobs." Harry began walking toward the exit, his footsteps echoing in the silent studio. But he couldn't resist one final parting shot. He stopped at the edge of the stage and turned around. "You know what the saddest part about all this is?" he called out. "You actually think you matter. You think this little show, this little corner of daytime television, actually makes a difference in the world. But in 5 years, 10 years, nobody will remember Kelly Clarkson. You'll be a footnote, a trivia question, but I'll still be a prince." The studio held its collective breath, waiting to see how Kelly would respond to this final insult. She walked to center stage, directly under the brightest lights, and looked Harry straight in the eye. "You're absolutely right about one thing. You'll still be a prince, but after today, everyone will know exactly what kind of prince you are." Harry's face crumpled as the weight of what had just happened finally hit him. He had come here expecting easy publicity, softball questions, and fawning admiration. Instead, he was leaving as the villain of his own story. Without another word, he turned and walked off the stage, the security guards following close behind. The sound of the studio door slamming shut echoed through the space, like a period at the end of a very ugly sentence. Kelly stood alone on her stage, looking out at her audience. These people who had supported her for years, who had laughed with her and cried with her, who had made her show a success not because she was famous, but because she was real. The applause started slowly, one person clapping, then 2, then 10. Then the entire studio erupted in the loudest ovation Kelly had ever heard. They weren't just applauding her decision to remove Harry from the show. They were applauding her courage, her values, and her unwavering commitment to treating people with respect. Kelly wiped a tear from her eye and smiled at her audience. "Well," she said, her voice still shaky from adrenaline, "that wasn't exactly how I planned to start our show today." The audience laughed, the tension finally breaking. They had witnessed something extraordinary. They had watched their host defend not just herself, but all of them. They had seen what real strength looked like when it was tested under pressure. As the cameras continued rolling and Kelly prepared to salvage what was left of her show, one thing was crystal clear. In a battle between entitled arrogance and genuine humanity, humanity had won, and everyone in that studio knew they had witnessed something they would never forget.